Guys, this is Jay here again. We're doing so many interviews over this summer period, and we've got a lovely Melbourneite, a very good friend of mine from I met during the lockdown period, and she did so much to help so many people. I was so grateful to actually become friends with her on Instagram and all her community and her friends. It really, really helped everyone through. And I was talking to my friends overseas, Diana Cortez, Sarah, and Jackie, and they said, you got to get this lady on and talk about the wonderful things she does. We call her Dr. Tash.
Yeah.
Welcome to a chat with Jay as part of the 1111 Spiritual Transit podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's absolutely a pleasure to have you on. And as I said to you at the start, and obviously the viewers, you did such a wonderful job. You were just an angel within that area of what happened, and just some of the stuff you were doing. I was a regular viewer, obviously, because I saw what you were doing, and all your and the compadres, I call it, that were giving us information, making us feel safe, telling us what to do with regards to nutrition and what was happening within the world. Yeah, I had to have you on. So now, do you want to explain exactly your exact title now? Because I know you're a doctor. I think I'm 100% sure with regards to different modalities. So if you want to just shoot that over and let the viewers know exactly your title.
Yeah, sure. So I do a couple of different things. My main area of profession is a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
So when I was on those platforms, that's what I spoke a lot about with clients and patients and people watching, a lot around Chinese medicine philosophies when it came to dietary, lifestyle, what we can do when the body was going into imbalances, to acupuncture points that we could use. So I treat a lot of patients in my private practice around sort of fertility, women's health, gynecological issues,
Right.
hormones, children. I work with men when it comes to strengthening their sperm count and helping them with their fertility. Otherwise, just mental health, anxiety, gut related issues as well. But really, Chinese medicine can treat so many things.
Oh,
But
look, it can. I've been a practitioner of massage myotherapy, and I call it body balance massage for 27 years. And basically, the basis was Hawaiian body work, which we did, and a lot based on the Chinese philosophy. And it's such a big thing that getting pretty much what we were talking about last night with my friend Cortez is the way we as people are connected to the earth and the universe as such. We go that next level, and we are people. We are sort of animals of the earth, and I think we're getting disconnected, but in a lot of ways. But with you coming on with what you do and what we're doing, we're sort of getting those people back to
yeah.
what we're actually supposed to be, and being that true soul and true spirit that we are. I think we're losing a lot of contact with I guess with the earth and the energies that come up. So I'm gonna go straight into it and talk to you when I did catch up with you in the lockdown period, and
Yeah.
some of the stuff you were talking about. Now we went through. There was a lot of obviously a lot of chaos and all those kind of things that were happening. One thing I did notice was you were so calm about everything, and
Mm.
we all know what's going. We all knew what was going on. Let's be honest. But there was a lot of things with regards to you were telling us how to actually, I guess, help with our bodies when we were getting. I'll call it the pokeroo. It was like I have to be careful with what we say if you get where I'm going. So you were on there every single day talking about how the Chinese medicine would do it and how and what we did. Could you give us a little bit of a aspect from your perspective? You saw this great thing happening on around the world, and you just basically put your captain's hat on, just go right. I'm going to lead society through this, and that's what you did. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your thought process with that? Because you were very very vocal.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's just getting people to come back into balance because there is so much chaos, and there's still chaos happening now with everything that's going on overseas.
Yes.
However, sitting in that vibration of fear is not going to be good for anyone. I understand that we need to wake up and see what's going on in the world, but actually, sometimes it can do a lot more harm to some people who aren't strong enough to be able to handle what they're watching, reading, or what's going on in their own environment. And so, for me, I've always believed that purpose in life is not to be, a trailblazer leader in the freedom movement, but it is to bring love and peace and healing to the world. So to do that, I first have to be in a state of full balance. And to teach people this, it takes time. But the first things that we can do is, first of all, watch what we're doing. When we can think about simple food, using food as medicine, we're forgetting how potent and powerful food is. And
Yes.
Chinese knows this. When we think about all the different internal organs in the body, they all have different types of foods that will actually nourish the chi of the organ, the blood of the organs, the tissues, the fascia, in so many different ways.
It,
And it's not just, it's not just from a Western medicine terms, it's energetics as well. How is the food then supporting the energy of that organ and body as well? So we're not looking at it as just eat salad and raw foods and things
yeah.
like that. We're looking at it on multi levels.
Absolutely. So this is where we actually look at our bodies and spirits as how when we went through what we did, we actually went within and we obviously worked myself. I worked with my shadow work and I worked in with my past traumas and all those kind of things, but also becoming aware of how it affected my body, each and every cell within the body. And what you've been just talking about, with regards to nourishing your body through that and how you can use the food to be a medicine in some ways. Because a friend of mine, Dom Dallas Page, is always saying about food and how it became part of his life to be to basically be like a medicine. Because and I know that they're genetically modifying all the food. We know that. In Italy, they've already passed a bill. They're not going to use that, which is great. I just saw that a couple of months ago. So with regards to your practice, and as I said, we'll go back to the chaos. You went back to the chaos. What was your mindset with regards to the love and freedom? Yep, fantastic. But you were so, and well, case of being a trailblazer, you were just that calming force. You really were. You had and like now you got a beautiful calming force. What was your mindset with regards to so many people? And you said, and I can just imagine you were getting bombed with messages. You left, right, and center. What were you? What was your thoughts? Because it was just you were such a pillar of strength through that area, through that era. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you. I think for me, it was calming people down first in the mind because they were holding on to so much anxiety and fear and stress
Yes.
outside of what was going on with illness and sickness and all of those things, is that we really needed to calm the mind. So I was treating quite a lot of patients. Either I was helping them support through online consultations to really regulate not only their mindset, but also doing sort of acupressure points online, teaching people how to actually activate certain organ systems like the heart and really calm the heart down of any anxiety. So once we can actually shift the energy of the body to in a balanced, peaceful state, then we've got better chance of knowing what type of solutions we're going to go to the next. But when we're in that erratic state, it doesn't matter what we do. Eating well, even, or having as many supplements as we want is not actually going to be as effective because the body is not going to be able to absorb those nutrients from what we're taking. So it's really about how well is that organ functioning. So I was doing a lot of free consultations. I did a few just online where I was able to just, have a lot of people just asking me questions online.
Yep.
And I was able to give them some, really free information on how to support their mindset, their organs, their body, and also teaching a little bit of Qigong, some Qigong movements to open up the lung meridian pathways, calm this down, support their breath, support their body, and come and bring them into stillness, which
Okay.
is really one step towards their health, and then moving to the next step around what's going on internally, dietary wise, health wise. For some people, like I treated someone from, I think they were in Germany. I had a
Wow.
call late night saying, this guy really needs help. He's a really well-known musician. He can't actually do any of his music. He can't even go on stage. He's had really bad gut issues because, again, he was watching a lot of stuff online about certain things that were beneficial around detoxing. And he actually didn't do the right thing. It was too much for his body. So he was vomiting, couldn't eat for I think it was 5 days. It
Wow.
was really bad. And after having that one consultation with him online, where I was just able to teach him certain basic foods to really nourish the gut, and also certain acupuncture points, and using a tool called Moxa, which is
Yeah, I know Moxa. Yep, know that one.
yeah,
Yep, that's great.
yeah, he was better by the next day. So he rang me just,
Wow.
like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, Dr. Tash. So for me, it was just, simple. We need to come back to simpleness. And there's just a lot of information out there, especially after COVID, where everyone's just giving out all these different information around, heavy metal detoxes and all of these things, which is great. And I'm not saying that these people aren't amazing at what some of the content is, but it may not be right for every single person. And so there's too many people over prescribing of supplements and herbs, doing too much where it's actually not needed for the body. And so it's about stripping that back and really going to a health practitioner who knows what they're talking about,
Yep.
before we're watching every single person online thinking that they're a health expert. So this is a big concern of mine.
Yeah, well, it looks like what you're doing is exactly what I've found with regards to a lot of people going through. They basically, it's a quick fix type thing. You got Google, you got all these things that go through, and I know that a lot of people were coming to me because they knew I knew a little bit about it,
Yeah.
being a physical practitioner, but I wasn't skilled as much. But what also I found, Tash, is did you find a lot of people actually, after you found a lot of people going within and really working within themselves? I mean, you work within spirit, I know, because we talk about your meditations and stuff you've been doing, getting into a meditative state. Do you find that, and I know it happened to me, going really within and understanding I call it, well, I work in the shadow work with what I do, and looking within their heart and their mind and all those kind of things, that see what really is affecting them with regards to anxiety and all that. And the other thing which I do know is the particular organ that might hold a particular emotion. Do you practice that, or do you? Oh, you're sure you've heard of it. But and obviously believe in that. And did you find many people going with right within at that
Yeah.
present time? Yeah. Sorry, I've gone a
Yeah.
little bit long, but yeah, just did
Yeah.
they really go in? Yeah, go within and really look within themselves and try to become a better person.
Oh, 100%. I mean, people who come and see me are ready to do the deep work, because I'm not someone who does anything superficial. I'm quite,
I could
let's
see
get
that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, definitely.
in. For with a lot of the work that I do with acupuncture, it's a gateway to really root and ground someone into their foundation, so that I can take them to the next level of their own spiritual journey. And for me, no matter what you're coming in for, my main prerogative with what I do is to bring every single human being to their greatness, for them to remember their wisdom, their consciousness, the ability to remember that they are the book of knowledge, that they're the healer, that they're the doctor of their life. And it doesn't matter what I say or what someone else says. At the end of the day, they know their bodies better than anyone else. So to teach that, there's a deeper level of awareness that has to come. And like for a lot of my patients, I take them through this journey of an inward journey. And for a lot of the women, it might be through the womb, into the portal of the womb consciousness and the wisdom that happens through the uterus.
Okay.
And for me, the reason why I've been able to take people really deep into this deeper level of knowledge and wisdom is because of the work that I've done on myself, not through a book, not from a facilitator or a practitioner, but within myself. And I've been able to go into a space where I've had a spiritual awakening 5 years ago, where I actually, in the meditation, I actually came out of it and saw many visions of me, of what I was in past lives. Back in Egypt, where I used to do sound healings through the pyramids, back in Africa, where I was the medicine
Right.
woman, and
Yep.
back in Atlantis as well. And when I
Yep.
came back into my body, I actually started to speak up to 10 different light languages.
Really?
Yeah,
Sweet.
and that
Cool.
yeah, that was five
Cool.
years ago. And so the languages sometimes can sound very like Egyptian, Hebrew, African, shamanic, Sanskrit, like a Hindu priest chanting. So there's many, many tones, low vibrational tones, high pitched sounds. And so these all carry a vibrational frequency to open up the mind, body, spirit level and the DNA. And we're activating on that light code frequency within the system. So I used to see patients used to say to me, sometimes I'm pulling out the organ while they're seeing light entering into the organ.
All right.
Or
Cool.
so they're having these experiential processes, because once we get people into a certain frequency, they're able to open up that different dimension within themselves. And so for me, moving into this part of my spiritual work at a very deep level over the last 5 years, I've treated thousands of patients. I think in the first year I treated 1,000 patients, because
Wow.
Spirit had me on a spiritual timeline. And what I did had to come with integrity. It had to come with humbleness. I had to learn how to strip all that back, because when I had that awakening, I realized I'm here just to serve.
Just keep talking. I'm just going to write down some key words here. This is good because I can we can talk a bit about this. Keep going.
Yeah, and it was a very eye-opening experience where when I had that awakening, I remember looking at spirit, feeling spirit saying to me, you are just a dot in the universe, yet you are connected to everything. And it was that real realization that nothing matters, no objects, nothing. And that really humbled me to remember that I'm here to serve and only serve.
Right.
So there's a level of making sure that I'm doing the right thing and being of the highest service for patients, and making sure that I'm not using my ego into it or anything like that, and that I am in the highest frequency. And
it's
so
very important. It's very important, isn't it? Like, sorry to cut you off there, but I've got a couple of words that came up, and we're talking about the ascension process that we go through. As Danny Searle in Brisbane, he's been going through. We talked to him last year about the ascension process, how to let go, and you're telling yourself you've got to be in your best self, your best your best frequency, your best vibration. You've got to learn how to tame the ego. That's the biggest job of all time, and we were talking about that last night when I was talking to my friend Cortez on Kind of Sounds Radio, Kind of Sounds Radio, just talking about the male aspect of all that. And then just wanted to mention, with you were talking about going into with females into the uterine area. It's really funny. I saw a TV show called Too Hot to Handle. You think it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a dating show, right? But it's the most spiritually based show. You'd be absolutely amazed. Actually, you'd go really well as a practitioner on it, because what they try to do, they get these party animals and they actually go do exactly what you're saying. Exactly.
I've seen it. I've actually seen that show.
It's an amazing show, and the transformation. You got a couple of people who just don't want to borrow of it, but you can see a lot of people that really the stuff that you'll be talking about right now is really coming forth. Our men finding themselves, still having that masculine energy and understanding how to utilize it for the better, understanding feminine energy, how it all works, coming together. It's an amazing show. It's an amazing show. It's an amazing show.
Really is. And that's what I mean. It's so beautiful to witness, because even in that show, and very much of how it is right now in the world, women are definitely waking up, but still we're living in this world where we're not respecting our bodies, we're not understanding our bodies, we're wanting connection but using it in the wrong way. Yes. And also we don't even really know how to really open up this portal of our own body where it actually can take us to the next level of our journey as a human being. And the womb, everything that I teach around the womb was a very experiential process. It wasn't something that I had read through a book. It was from me working with patients and seeing what was happening.
Amazing. Right? I always say, look, I make a joke with Jackie, my friend in Canada. We always have the PhD in life, and we're always drawn to where we're going to go, and you just talking is just really generated something within me. I went towards the shadow. I talk about, they've got the practice of semen retention, which you probably heard of as well, which Cortez and I talked about last night. And then you got the feminine energy that has really been actually it has to be utilized. The male and female energies really have to be balanced and understand exactly, get back to where it is without the ego. Tash, you know what I mean? And what you're saying is exactly right. I can just imagine the power that you get from, really releasing from the uterine area, especially for females.
Oh yeah. And it's also the voice of the womb. The womb has their own voice.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, I learned that on Too Hot to Handle, actually. Would you believe?
Yeah.
I actually sat down and learned a real lot about it. I said, people are going, you're crazy watching it. the practitioner, I'm not sure what the lady's name was, but she was exactly like you. Just said exactly what you said. Just she was humble. She went through an awakening process, and she understood the power of where it was. And then once you actually channel that, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, like I live my life through that energy, everything I
Yeah.
do, through dance, through movement, through my work, and even a lot of the workshops I run, because I do a lot of like teach all around integrative pelvic health. So teaching women how to open up the bones, the fascia, how to
Yep.
speak to the area and awaken that area, and then also open that through integrative breath flow, which is a gentle feminine yin breath that really opens up the bones, the rib cage, the diaphragm, and it's not so intense like breath work.
Yep.
So it this into a more yin type of work. And for a lot of women out there, they're in that sort of rat race of a man's world. We're a
Yeah.
lot in our masculine energy. And so even some of the practices when we come into the healing response or healing, we want everything fast, quick and hard.
Yeah.
And I think it should be gentle, soft, and easy instead of so
Well,
traumatic.
well, it should be. I was going to ask you, Tash, with what you practice, and I know what I mean, it's something that we come into being. I'll put the word different as a just as a catchword for the minute. We practice what we practice. We believe in what we believe in. Did you find any resistance to that when you first started, or did you find did you have a? I mean, we all have confidence in what we say and what we do, and we practice what we preach. But did you have any resistance from the society at all, especially coming from the female society? Did I say the female aspect? Because I can come from a male aspect, of course. But did you have any resistance or anything like that? Or did you feel that the people in society really wanted to see that change or wanted that guidance from someone like yourself?
I've always been sort of, I've never gone with the norm. So I've always been the black sheep of the family. I've just done my own thing. I've always been
Welcome.
independent
Yeah, welcome.
and not
Absolutely.
really, not really cared too much about what people think because I know and trust that what I'm doing is the right path.
Absolutely
And
cool.
I think for me, with the women, I've always been in real alignment with my meditation because I meditate 1 to 2 hours a day, and
Right.
everything has been set around. I only want to work with people who are here with my soul's mission, right? My soul, my heart's mission, and so I've actually been really blessed. I don't even think I've had one bad patient. So everyone,
I'll probably rephrase that. What I mean is there not resistance in some, you're probably not resistance in patient wise, but when they come, they sort of don't understand it. They're sort of not, I guess they just don't understand it in some ways, if you get where I'm going, because we come from a different path where when you said it to me, I've gone, yep, I get it straight away. And it's not that you don't have great rapport with them. They're just sort of in that, I guess I'll call it 3D society, 9 to 5 sort of, you know what I mean? You know where I'm going. Whereas we're opening a new portal in some ways, which is the original one in my book.
course,
And
of
yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah. So does that make sense when you have your clients?
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, for most people, I won't take them straight to the spiritual aspect straight away. It
Yeah,
has to be a bridging. And for me, it's really important to bridge the spiritual with the Western medicine as well and the Eastern medicines,
absolutely. Yes,
making it
agree.
digestible. I never want to make anything too complicated for people. It needs to be digestible, bite-sized pieces. When I work with men, it's even slower than that, just for
Yep.
them to understand their body and their energy. But for women, I find that slowly by building the energy of just through the acupuncture, and they get to have an experiential process where they feel the movement through their body, or they feel the relaxation, or they start to see visions through the acupuncture because I take them into a little bit of a guided meditation.
Mm.
Then I can take them to the next step where I go, okay, now you're ready for a healing with me. And with the healing, I explain to them, yes, in bite-sized pieces, frequency, you understand frequency because when we listen to music, certain music will make us feel happy or some of it makes us
Yep.
feel really angry.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Sometimes you'll hear people chant in Sanskrit in meditation when they're chanting like Buddhist chants and things like that. That carries a frequency. Even though you don't understand it in the mind, the soul knows and understands this language. The body knows the language. That's why it becomes very healing when we recite this. And so I speak many languages that are from different dimensions of the universe, which is light. And so it's kind of like also similar to when priests speak in tongues, right?
Yep.
So when I have you on the table, I explain to them that I can actually quickly gauge which languages you need for your body for the healing, and it
Wow.
channels, it just
Wow.
happens. So
Wow.
people sometimes see me become different beings as well. They've seen me morph into a
Oh,
shaman,
really?
a priest.
Yeah. Oh,
Some
sweet.
people, yeah, yeah, they've seen me take on these different forms, and usually I'm always calling in their guides and their spirit team and their ancestors. I'm always working with your
Yeah.
ancestors as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Always quite a few people in the room as I'm working because it's always, for their highest good. And then I'm also teaching them that through that portal of opening the womb is connected to the earth. The womb is connected to source because as a baby, as a soul, you entered through this portal, right, into the womb before you became a physical form. So there's a lot of magic here that we don't fully understand.
No, we
And
don't. No, we don't.
I think
Excuse me.
even in meditation, it's lost. Where I feel like the feminine crown, as we call it, the womb,
Mm.
is really sacral chakra is looked at as something that's not that important. It's only when we move from the heart chakra upwards into the,
Oh, you can't do that though, because in my belief, and what especially with men that we've worked with, Cortez and I especially look at it. They look at us. Why are we so grounded and have such a grip? I guess in some sort of grip on life, if you want to put it that way. And I just said it's called grounding. It's especially even in the male, the last three chakras. You got to ground yourselves, especially men. They've really got to ground themselves and understand that that has to be done. You can't just go, oh, I'm going to go and float up to the universe and that's it without any real balance and grounding. Because at the end of the day, what you said is right. You're balancing. And I just wanted to say one more thing. I've always said I want to be in a safe space, and you can just see straight out how safe it is for you to be in in here. So yeah, we've got 10 minutes to go on this first part, so keep on going.
And it's a really hot topic because when I treat a lot of spiritual people as well, and they're all about wanting to go upwards to the universe, and they don't understand that they must descend down in order to ascend. And we're not living, if we want to live in this human experience, if we don't want to be sitting in fear and feeling, not feeling safe, then that means that we need to open up the sacral. We need to open up the root chakra. We need to go,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No,
right?
you make so much sense. I mean, as I said, I'm the same as you. I've done a lot of work with regards to life and stuff. I've done all my studies and stuff, China, we did a bit of Chinese medicine, Hawaiian body work, understanding chi, understand the flow of energy. But when you really go in and have that awakening process, this is where I think that's where the PhD starts. You start at kindergarten when you have that breakdown, and then you move it forward. And you think you've got everything, you're nowhere near it, and you're still growing every single day. And especially, I believe, energy-wise, in the last couple of months, especially the ascension process for all of us has just ascended really, really quickly. They're really trying to get us to a point where we could really help a lot more people. And I think talking to you and Cortez and the rest of the crew, they're getting us out there. We're actually getting out there with this great with what we're doing. So again, very appreciative of you coming on and talking about talking about this, because it's amazing what you do.
Thank you. And there's been a huge upgrade. I definitely felt from the Lionsgate portal last year,
Yep.
there was just a shift in me. I just woke up 6 a.m. and it was like,
Yep. Agreed.
hours
Agreed.
every
Yep.
day. And
Absolutely
since,
agreed.
and it's been interesting because last year, especially the last 6 months of last year, I went through so many changes. The ending of my relationship, the ending of my best friend, the ending of another friendship.
Really? Okay. There's a lot of ending. I mean, there was sorry to interrupt, but there was also the Pluto return, which we had. I mean, if we go astrology wise, we've got that too. And I just wanted to quickly, while I've got you, just quickly, I reckon it's all started about Halloween in 2022. That's when it all, for me, that's when it all sort of started, because I'm very into all that, into when Halloween starts. That's when sort of that portal opened, and sort of all finished in 2023 about Halloween. And you were saying about the last 6 weeks. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Well, especially from June, July of last year, because the sun's energy is gone a lot stronger, and so for the next year, right up until this year, around June, July, we've got the ability to fast forward everything a lot quicker, to
Mm,
manifest what we
yep.
want a lot faster.
Agreed.
And so for me, I'm never scared of, because a lot of people are like, how do you just move through things so fast? And for me, it's this deep wisdom that's sitting in trust, that what is not in alignment for me, it's not in alignment, and it's okay. We can let that go with peace and love, and it's moving me into a different direction. So my mindset is always in that solution base, so that I don't sit in the fear and sit in that energy for too long. It's just never been who I am. I've just moved through things really quickly in that way. And
It's amazing, amazing, amazing.
A lot of that is just doing some sort of practice where I always explain to women, it's not that I'm always peaceful. I will experience every emotion, but especially in the last 6 months, it's feel it, experience it, allow it, and then release it. Don't sit in it, because you'll find that you can't actually be sad 24/7. It doesn't happen like that. The body's always moving and changing. So understand that you are this ebb and flow. You are the great ocean. You are the feminine. You're allowed to bring up this tidal wave of emotions through you to heal your heart. But it's also allowing you, as you go through that process, that you go into this stillness after you've released this emotion, where in that stillness, you can then speak to soul. You can speak to yourself. You can speak to your guides and get a deeper level of understanding of, okay, what is this really about? What is this actually really bringing up in me?
It's what you're saying is this happened to me in the last 5 weeks. I've really just gone, the penny just dropped.
Yeah.
Everything you said, every single word, emotion release, understanding how to release it, right?
Yeah.
Have that time to release it, but come back to yourself, come back and turn. What my thing is, I turned everything around to a lesson to myself.
Yes.
And
Everything's right.
that was the key point. It's amazing. Everything you say, everything you're saying is perfect. Keep going. Yeah, I just had to say that. It was just like, oh yeah, amazing. Keep going.
And it's a lesson. And what I've actually really learned in the last 6 months in particular is that everyone is at a different level of consciousness with a different level of perception. So in the beginning of my life, I was very vocal because I've come from a background being Sri Lankan of rape, violence, poverty. I've experienced all of those spectrums.
Yes.
And so when I was younger, it was about fighting for my rights and being angry and being vocal. But what I realize now as I get older, and especially in the last 6 months, is understanding that level of perception in other people, that actually silence is the greatest power. That within your own silence, you can come into peace and understand people of where they're at in life. And it's okay. So I feel like my anger in the last 6 months has dissolved. And there's a level where I can't get angry the way I used to. It's not even coming up in me anymore, because I can just look at it from a higher perspective quite quickly and go, it's okay. It's okay where they're at. I can send love and healing. I'm moving forward now. So it's been very interesting to understand that when we're trying to fight for our rights, our truth, and what's wrong, what's right, it's always at a level of perception. So there is actually no one is 100% right. And there's no 100% that you can go, I'm believing in what they're saying. It's at the level of perception.
Would you say it's a choice? Like, I mean, Greg Riley and Michael McNair said me two things. Number one is what you fill your mind with the way you are at the present times. You are already not in that sort of progression where you're moving up. And the other thing is choice. You have a choice. And I don't think we really realize, Tash, that we really have a choice in life in what we do. And I think people like yourself can actually give the power to people and say, listen, you do have a choice in what you do. And that's what Greg and Michael said to me, and I could hear it from your voice as well. I'm going to call it for part one right now. We've got about 2 minutes to go. I'll get you to go. You can go and refresh, get yourself some water, and man, this is and our next part we'll be talking more about your awakening process and what you do for the greater good for society. And also, I'd like to mention a friend of mine, Red Horse from Native American Productions, who does very similar work to you with regards to American Indian philosophy, which I am very close to with regards to my past life. So, my strongest past life. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with Dr. Tash. It's been a wonderful chat so far. So, we'll look forward to part two very, very soon. We'll take care and we'll see you soon.